And as we prepare to usher in 2023, have you already decided what your New Year's resolutions are going to be? If it happens to be, I must get married, well, the question we're asking you today on the Fatboy Show is this. Would you marry a partner who's like your parents? Olive, would you? A lot of people like to do that. They look for their father in their future husband, or they look for their mother in their future wife.
People look... they look to their father. They look for a partner like their parent if their parent was a good parent. Do I make sense? Mm-hmm. If my father was a hands-on dad, or he was there, or he was a provider, or if, he taught me so much, definitely I would want my partner to be like my father. But now you're putting me on the spot. My family will disown me because I would definitely never marry a man like my dad.
Well, so... don't you think, like some people, it's almost a dysfunctional thing where if you are raised by not very good parents or absent parents, that this is something you will carry with you.
Yeah.
And in a very tragic way, you will seek partners who have the same dysfunction because it's what you're used to. It's what you're familiar with. So if you had a mother that was manipulative, chances are you're going to want to manipulate. You'll feel more at home with a manipulative woman than a non-manipulative
because
one.
That's what you're used to. That's what you know. That's your normal. For some people, if the parents were, especially girls, I'll speak for girls, if your father was not present, you're going to find yourself latching on to men that are not present, but you feel deep down if you do too much, maybe they will end up being present. So at the end of the day, it may not even be the fault of the men. It's because for you, you're looking for happiness in a place where it doesn't even exist in the first place. So because you don't know how to be around men, like the other day when we were talking about the birth of your daughter, when I said a father is a girl's first interaction with a man, because by dealing with your father, for some reason you learn a thing or two, all right? But now if you've never dealt with a man, if you didn't have a father figure, maybe a brother, maybe a father, when you meet men, you don't even know how to carry yourself. A guy will just say, treat you well, take you for dinner, open a door for you. He's just being nice. And you're like, oh my goodness, I'm falling in love with him. Because you've never known better. And that is the bare minimum. But you've never gotten it.
Well, I also think it's a bit more complicated than that. I think what is also an important factor is the relationship between the parents. So It's one thing to say you have a father that is a certain way and that you might want a man that's like that. But also in the way you are observing your mother treating your father, wouldn't that also inform your understanding of how to treat men as well?
Exactly. I know a lady, she has a Facebook show. Sorry, they have a show on YouTube. It's called The Bump Love. It has Manuela Mlondo. It has Rachel Mwine and other ladies. Now, the lady I'm talking about is called Pumla Nabachwa. Actually, Crystal has hosted Pumla before.
I know Pumla.
Yes, Pumla is a very stubborn woman.
Oh, yeah.
But very intelligent. Yeah. But most especially, I love the way Pumla talks about her parents. Yes, she was married before. Her marriage didn't work. But she's like, marriage didn't work because probably I was actually not made for marriage. And she married very, very young. But why am I talking about Pumla? Pumla says that between her parents, you can see love and you can see respect from the side of her mom towards her dad and from the way her father treats her mother. So she has this good relationship with her father. And it all comes from how her father treated her mom.
So how come her marriage failed?
No, for her, she says some people just don't get married.
No, I'll tell you why it failed.
Why did it fail?
I think of two possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Either her mother pulled her aside and said, my daughter, don't be like me. You deserve even better than me.
No,
and this is something that has afflicted a lot of young women today whose mothers, it's the grass is greener syndrome. So a woman may have been married to a man for 40 years, happily married, and till death do they part. But a part of her is thinking, but I could have done more with my life.
Maybe the
so
40
they will
years
tell.
where I think she was happily married, she was dealing with things like Michelle Obama recently said that for 10 years of her marriage, she was actually very unhappy with her husband. And it was mainly because of, raising a young family and all that. But for us from outside, we're like, oh my goodness,
Perfect couple,
I would
right?
like to be like them. But they were struggling.
So exactly. So because of that, they may communicate to their daughters that perhaps they could live differently. Because most parents, and not out of any malice, they typically want a better life for their children than they had for themselves. So if a woman was happily married for 30, 40 years but lived a particular limited lifestyle, she's going to be telling her daughter, please
Don't
study.
do what I did.
Don't do what I did. I want you to have more than me. I want you to study. I want you to work. I want you to be a go-getter. And all of these qualities tend to make it less likely, unfortunately,
for her marriage to work out.
for women to succeed in marriage. Yes.
Okay, but now
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is, and actually, I agree with you to a large extent. There are so many moms who would be like, because of what I went through. I remember a friend of mine when she was getting married, her mother told her, "I wish I could cry your tears for you," but the marriage had not yet started. There was no suffering yet, but because her mother had already suffered in her marriage, and of course there are many stories of many things happening in marriage, so the mother was like, I wish when that point comes, because for her it's like she premeditated that it's gonna come, I wish I would cry your tears for you.
and yet her mother grew up at a time where girls were encouraged to persevere through. Women were encouraged to persevere through the marriage when those times arose, right? Whereas today the message is, as long as you're unhappy, just you gotta live for you, girl. Go, take care of number one.
But now,
don't get held back. Don't limit yourself.
You are
Seek
number
happiness.
one. You come first. But Fatboy, wouldn't you agree that life is too short for you to live miserably for the rest of it? If there is
my
an
point is,
option
I
to
think
be happy.
I think it's a case of you pick your poison, and some poison is less bad than other forms of poison. So for the woman who might have dealt with a marriage with issues, you don't think that when she's 60 years old or 70 years old, she's going to look back and be happy that she stayed in that marriage?
Some people are not happy they stayed.
Now with the kids and the grandkids,
No,
versus the woman who fled the marriage at the first sign of difficulty or misunderstanding or wrongdoing by the husband. And from then on, she lives a life of serial dating. One man in, one man out, one man in, one man out. You're now 60 years old. You've been with 50 different men and 60 failed relationships.
But you see, going back to the lady I was using as an example, she seems happy. And the reason why I shared this is because she openly talks about her relationship and how her marriage ended. And she says that the marriage ended because, first of all, she got married very young, and honestly she didn't know who she was. And I agree with that part, because at 20 she got married, I think under 25, and honestly, what do you know at under 25 for you to say that you're making a lifetime decision? Some ladies, yes, have gotten married below 25 and the marriage has worked out, but right now many women will tell young ladies, you know what, if you can't hold out, get married when you're a little older.
Okay, how much older though?
Personally, I would tell you, get married at 30 and above.
Because now you're saying men deserve the leftovers.
But men are already leftovers themselves.
No, we want the ladies who aren't as, who don't have high mileage.
But there are women that don't have high mileage.
At 30?
Yes.
In which country?
Not everyone has been around. But isn't it weird or ironic that men want women that have zero mileage, yet for them they have lots of mileage? Because every person you've slept with, if we are religious, I am going to sleep with those people.
Wait, is
You're
this the same
all your demons to me.
So is this the same complaint about double standards?
What?
Because the fact is, a woman would much rather have a sexually experienced man. That's just the reality. I wish it were not true, but the number one insult a woman will give a guy on social media is, you're a virgin. That's why you can't get laid. I mean, ask me. For the better part of 30 years, that's all the flack I've been catching from my detractors. Oh, that's why you can't get laid. That's why you can't get a woman. It's like all those sorts of things, because our value seems to be tied to the degree to which we can have sex with women. And this is true from the eyes of women.
But do you know, because we have dealt with women, rather men, not women, do you know how men react if you just complain that he does not make you reach paradise? If you just say, could you please change here and here, before you know it, he feels attacked. Before you know it, he's like, why are you saying that? So were you with other people? That's how you know that I cannot get stuff done. But you're just saying, babe.
But that's true. You probably would have been with other people, which is why your standards are slightly higher.
Do you know there are guys
and expectations?
There are guys who don't realize that in as much as I had a good time and I had my woman did not get it. And lately, some guys on the internet are convincing themselves, they're telling each other, it's not my responsibility to make you get there. And I'm like, so if it is not yours, it is whose?
Well, for us, we shall give you your O, but we shall send it to you via mobile money. That's your O.
No.
In the bedroom, let us have our fun and leave us in peace.
If I have you for the money, I will appreciate. But if I have you for the other one, please deliver. Because
there's two types of sex you can have with a woman, that a man can have with a woman. There's the kind of sex where the woman is having sex with you to reward you. Like she feels like you've been nice, you've done well for her, so she wants to make you feel good. Like she goes into the bedroom knowing she wants to give you a good time, prioritizes your needs first. And then there's the kind of sex where she has a very powerful sexual urge and she needs it quenched, and you are the man for the job today. So you are there to work.
You're there to, that's how you do not say
so you get in there, man, it's like, she all of a sudden turns into a dictator. Do this, do that, touch here, touch that, do this, head here, leg there. You're like, hey, faster, slower, this angle, turn around. You're like, you feel like a machine.
But you're not a machine. You're there to do work. So do it. Make sure you deliver, because
that's
why you're here.
No, man, I much prefer where it's like, yo, mister, you're a good dude, so just sit back, relax, and let me show you a nice time. That's the kind of sex I'm for. So.
Oh, come on. It gets boring. You can't have that.
But I'm an old man. I'm almost 50 years old. You want me to be toiling and sweating? I'll die.
You lost the weight so that you could deliver. I have a feeling that's why.
No, this is just for the look. This isn't for any other utility.
No, everything else counts.
Bedroom utility.
No, you see, you cannot look like that and then give lackluster work. Make it make sense.
It just doesn't make sense to you. But for me, it does.
I say how?
Because, look, like I said, let's not... look, these expectations that we impose on each other, and I can understand that they may seem unfair, but I just feel like if you're a man, you can find other ways of pleasing a woman. So that, for example, if a woman can't please you in the kitchen, perhaps she might opt to please you in the bedroom. And similarly, if a man can't please you in the bedroom, allow him to please you in other ways. Don't force us to please you in every single way.
But you see, there is a danger in that, because yes, you're going to please me in other ways, and then you expect commitment from me. And the only way I can give you that is when you try. And I'm not saying do something like what you see on the internet, because we know all that is choreographed. But try your best to give your partner something they can hold on to. Don't just come in and in 2 minutes you're done and you're like, hey, baby, did you feel me? Feel what? Yeah.